What if you had the audacity to believe that the world was bigger than what you knew? Picture a time when courage, curiosity, and the thirst for knowledge ignited a spark that changed the course of history. This was the age of exploration, a remarkable era stretching from the early 15th to the early 17th century. It was a time when audacious European explorers dared to venture beyond known horizons, driven by a myriad of motivations. They sought new trade routes, yearned for exotic goods and wealth, and aimed to spread the influence of Christianity. The quest for the East brought them to the farthest corners of the West, leading to the discovery of lands previously unknown to them. This was an age of wonder, an age of courage, an age of expanding boundaries. Brave explorers set sail into the unknown, shaping the world as we know it today. Imagine being Columbus, gazing at the vast ocean, not knowing what lies ahead. A sense of mystery, excitement, and trepidation must have filled the air as these early pioneers embarked on their journeys, leaving the familiar behind in search of the unknown. At the helm of this bold era was Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer sponsored by the Spanish monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella. In the year 1492, Columbus embarked on his first voyage across the Atlantic, intending to find a western sea route to Asia. Instead, he stumbled upon a whole new world, the Americas. The sight of these untouched lands, with their lush landscapes and diverse life forms, must have been a sight to behold. Columbus's discovery marked a significant milestone in the age of exploration. However, he wasn't alone in this quest to chart the unknown. Other explorers were also making their mark, driven by curiosity, ambition, and the promise of fortune. Take, for instance, John Cabot, an Italian explorer like Columbus, but sailing under the English flag. In 1497, just 5 years after Columbus's voyage, Cabot discovered parts of North America, believing he had found a new route to Asia. His journey paved the way for further exploration and eventual colonization by the English. Then there was Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese explorer, who in 1498 successfully discovered a sea route to India by sailing around the Cape of Good Hope in Africa. His journey opened up the lucrative spice trade to Europe, transforming the continent's economy and culinary landscape. These early pioneers, with their audacity and resilience, reshaped our understanding of the world. They ventured into uncharted waters, braved harsh conditions, and weathered countless obstacles. Their discoveries not only broadened geographical knowledge, but also ignited a global exchange of cultures, ideas, and goods. With each voyage, the map of the world slowly began to fill in. These explorers, armed with their compasses and astrolabes, charted new territories, bridged distant lands, and in the process, forever changed the course of human history. Picture the awe of first laying eyes on an entirely new land, an entirely new culture. As the explorers pushed the boundaries of the known world, they found themselves on the shores of continents previously uncharted by their civilizations. Imagine the thrill of setting foot on unfamiliar land, the rush of excitement at each new discovery, the bewilderment and fascination of encountering diverse cultures so different from their own. This was the reality for explorers during the age of exploration. They discovered a world far more vast and diverse than anyone had previously imagined. From the Americas to the distant East, they encountered societies with their own complex structures, traditions, and ways of life. And with these encounters, an exchange began. Goods, previously unknown in Europe, were traded across oceans. Exotic spices, precious metals, and new world crops like potatoes, tomatoes, and maize sparked intrigue and fueled economies. But it wasn't just tangible goods that were shared. Ideas, technologies, and philosophies were exchanged, enriching both the explorers and the indigenous populations. Yet this exchange was not without its darker side. Along with goods and ideas, diseases were also transported across continents. The indigenous populations, having no previous exposure to these diseases, suffered devastating losses. Smallpox, measles, and influenza, unfamiliar to the native people, wreaked havoc in their communities. On the other hand, the explorers faced their own trials. They had to adapt to new climates, face unknown dangers, and sometimes cope with the hostility of the native populations. Despite these challenges, they continued their exploration, driven by the allure of the unknown, the promise of wealth, and the desire for new trade routes. These encounters marked the beginning of a global interconnection. The world, once divided into isolated pockets, slowly began to weave together into a tapestry of cultures, economies, and histories. The age of exploration, with all its triumphs and tragedies, paved the way for this global convergence. These encounters forever changed the course of history, sparking a global interconnection. What if you could say you've sailed around the entire world? Quite a feat, isn't it? Now imagine achieving this in the 16th century, when maps were incomplete and the seas were full of unknown dangers. This is the story of Ferdinand Magellan's expedition, the first to circumnavigate the globe. Magellan, a Portuguese explorer, set sail from Spain in the year 1519, leading a fleet of 5 ships with over 250 men. His mission was to find a westward route to the Spice Islands, but his voyage would ultimately achieve much more than that. The journey was fraught with challenges. The crew faced storms, starvation, and even mutiny, but Magellan's determination was unyielding. He led his fleet through the treacherous straits now known as the Strait of Magellan, at the southernmost tip of South America. This passage led the fleet to a vast, previously unknown body of water, which Magellan named the Pacific Ocean due to its calm nature. As they traversed the Pacific, the hardships continued. Food and water supplies dwindled, and many men succumbed to scurvy. Yet they pressed on, driven by the promise of discovery and the allure of the unknown. After sailing across the Pacific for 99 days, they finally reached land, the Mariana Islands, and later the Philippines. Unfortunately, it was here in the Philippines where Magellan met his end in a local conflict. However, the voyage did not end with Magellan. Under the command of Juan Sebastián Elcano, the expedition continued. After 3 long years, one ship, the Victoria, with just 18 surviving crew members, returned to Spain, completing the first circumnavigation of the globe. This epic journey not only discovered new lands and sea routes, but also confirmed what many had suspected. The world was indeed round. It was a colossal step toward understanding the true nature of our planet. Magellan's expedition proved that the world was a vast, interconnected sphere, ready to be explored. And so, the age of exploration continued, sparking a thirst for discovery that still drives us today. How did these voyages of discovery shape the world we live in today? The age of exploration forged a legacy that still reverberates through the ages, leaving an indelible impact on our modern world. One of the most significant outcomes was the establishment of global trade routes. These new channels of commerce paved the way for the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures, knitting the world together in an intricate web of interaction. Exotic commodities like spices, silk, and gold flowed from east to west, while the West introduced the New World to goods like horses and wheat. This era marked the dawn of globalization, setting the stage for our interconnected world today. Alongside the spread of goods and ideas came the spread of Western civilization and Christianity. As explorers ventured into uncharted territories, they carried with them their customs, beliefs, and ways of life. Indigenous societies were often irrevocably altered as a result. Christianity, in particular, found new adherents in far-flung corners of the globe, forever altering the religious landscape of many regions. Yet, this era wasn't just about discovery and growth. It also bore witness to some of humanity's darkest hours. The spread of diseases like smallpox to populations with no immunity led to devastating epidemics, decimating entire civilizations. The age of exploration also marked the beginning of the Atlantic slave trade, a horrific chapter in human history that saw millions of Africans forcibly taken from their homes and shipped across the ocean into a life of bondage. This exploration era also set in motion the creation of a global economy. The exchange of goods and resources across continents laid the foundation for international trade and economic interdependence. Today, our economies are so intertwined that a ripple in one part of the world can create waves in another. The age of exploration, a period of discovery and despair, of curiosity and conquest, forever changed our understanding of the world. This epoch, with its triumphs and tribulations, has shaped the contours of our world, influencing the course of history and the fabric of our present. As we navigate our own world today, what can we learn from the age of exploration? Let's take a moment to reflect on our journey. We've traveled through time, witnessing the audacious spirit of early pioneers, their determination to uncover new lands, and their encounters with diverse cultures. We've seen how curiosity fueled their voyages, pushing them beyond known boundaries. It was this same curiosity that led to the circumnavigation of the globe, a testament to human resilience and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. The age of exploration wasn't just about discovering new territories. It was about connecting the world, fostering cultural exchanges that have shaped our modern society. The lessons from this era are timeless. They remind us of the power of determination, the importance of embracing different cultures, and the impact of curiosity. As we continue to explore our world, let's remember the explorers who first dared to venture into the unknown and the uncharted waters they navigated.